Hi guys, Tracy and Das. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be recapping Married at First Sight Australia, my favorite show, and we are going to be reviewing episode 13, season 13, so let's get right into it. Today is the morning of the commitment ceremony, and Luke and Mel, Rachel and Steven, and Grayson and Julia are all left shocked and uncomfortable, reeling from the night before. They're disappointed from the behavior of the mean girls once again, and Alyssa's quite upset. She wakes up just thinking about the night before and how horrible she feels. She's not as tough as Stella, but Stella was also unsure of why these girls became so unhinged. She was just not willing to lower herself to their standards. She wasn't going to let them rent room in her head. And she's smart enough to know this has very little to do with herself and more to do with Brooke and Gia. They're jealous and they're insecure, and she has no time for it. She's just there for Philippe, and Alyssa's just there for David. They don't care about these friendships. Brooke gets a kick out of her own behavior. She finds it funny. Nobody else does. She doesn't like being called a bully, but that fits her personality. She is nothing but a bully. She doesn't like being called that, but I hope she gets used to it, because unless she changes, that's what stands out. Wait till the Married at First Sight fans get a hold of the message boards. It's gonna be ugly. Gia reaches out to see how Beck is, and Beck tells her she's not doing good. You ruined my relationship. I'm devastated. Leave me alone. So luckily, Beck has figured out pretty quickly that she was being used last night, and she's not there for it. You know, Brooke left, and now Gia's stuck to hold the bag and all the responsibility of what happened last night, which I find very fitting. Danny slept separately because he was disappointed that Beck believed Gia over him. Now, here's a man who, when things aren't going exactly the way he wants them to, just bails. He doesn't like drama, and that's not a good relationship when your man will run every time things get difficult. You didn't see David or Philippe running away when their girls were upset. They were there for him. Danny could have handled this better, and maybe he'll grow from the situation, and maybe he'll realize he could have handled it better. I can imagine that he will. He's a pretty smart guy. The things Brooke and Gia said to all the girls were very hurtful, and David and Philippe supported their girls. They didn't tell them, if you don't believe me, you are not my ride or die, like Danny did. This was a time for Danny to comfort his bride, not getting mad at her, and Beck just got a triple whammy. Now, Danny had the right to be mad at the girls, but not Beck, and he took it out on the wrong person. I can't believe he turned it around on her. I think Danny is guilty. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had this kind of reaction. It was so crazy over the top, but so was their behavior. Gia and Brooks. It's very odd. The fact that he left when she was completely bawling her eyes out was so cold-blooded. I was just like, yuck. Grayson and Julia have made some changes, and she's looking rather sexy for her man tonight. Wowza. So much tension at the second commitment ceremony for so many reasons. First up, Alyssa and David. I hope David speaks up. I'm sure he will. Alyssa is disgusted at these girls' behavior, and the word bullying is spot on. She has every right to use it, for sure. The disrespect, high school comments. I mean, these are grown women, way too old to be acting like this. This is so embarrassing, toxic, and Alyssa's gutted. She really is upset about it. And the real point is, Alyssa has not said one nasty or mean thing to any of these girls. Beck apologizes for her behavior, getting on the bandwagon with the mean girls, but I don't know. I'm glad she takes accountability and she promises it won't happen again, but it doesn't change what happened. Can't put toothpaste back in the tube, like I always say. The experts were impressed with how David and Alyssa handled themselves. It really does say more about Brooke and Gia than it does about Stella and Alyssa. Mel and Luke were up next, full of smiles and positive energy. They chose to stay, and we're so excited about it, aren't we? I mean, I just hope, one, they move back in together, and two, I hope they get past just this friend stage, although the friend stage is a much improved situation than last week. Rebecca and Steve are up, and Rebecca tells her truth. She puts it all out on the table. She has come for love, and they had a great wedding and a great honeymoon. And what changed? He changed, but why? That's the question. He wasn't willing to be vulnerable at all in this experiment. Steve says they had a personality clash, but he gets called out on that. John says, that's not what this is. That's a cop-out. Be more specific. What happened? I mean, we want answers. It seems to be a communication issue. He's calling him out. Scott asks Steve, have you done anything to make her feel desired? He just says he isn't romantically interested. He admits to being selfish in his past relationships, and nothing's changed. I mean, this man needs to think about how he treats women. John asks Steve, what do you do to contribute to the problems in this relationship? And he can't think of a single thing that he's done to contribute to the problems. It's all Rebecca's fault. You guys ever started talking to somebody and telling them a story or talking about your feelings, and they're like, okay. That's such a sure sign of shutting somebody down. And this is what he's doing. This is what he did to Alessandra. This is what he's done to Rebecca. This is what he does to John and Mel, the experts. He does this to everybody when he doesn't want to continue the conversation, or if he doesn't like what they're saying, he just shuts it down. Really is a total jerk. I don't know what else to say. I'll be happy to see him go, but I won't be happy to see Rebecca go because she's so sweet and is liked by everybody, and she was such a good addition to the show. She was just paired with a wrong guy. So Steve apologizes to Alessandra, which is good. Do you think he apologizes to Rebecca, who's taken so much more on the chin from this guy? No. Julia tells the experts she kissed Grayson. She made the move. I mean, she would have had to because he's been waiting for so long he wasn't going to make the move. There is obviously chemistry. There has been the whole time. I think she just had her wall up and was afraid. But Grayson's proven to her that she doesn't have to be afraid with him. He really thinks very highly of her. I think Grayson just might have pushed those walls down finally, and I'm excited to see where this goes. Hopefully it ramps up some intimacy between the two of them and their relationship grows from this. They certainly know each other, a lot about each other. She's asked a lot of questions. Steve is leaning into the task. I always thought once they kissed, Steven's anxiety would lessen. He'd be less scared. It takes a big person to keep trying, even if they've messed up. So kudos to Steven. I love him so much, and I love Rachel for him. She's this perfect match. Gia and Scott are up. Gia apologizes. Empty apologies everywhere. Her little partner in crime is no longer there to support her, so she's got to figure out how to get into some of these girls' good graces because nobody likes her. I don't feel like this is genuine, and she has done this multiple times. Her behavior was ugly and mean. John called her out. Gia was feeling emotional. She said she and Scott had gotten into an argument, and that's why she was feeling that way the next day. Of course, the experts wanted to know what the argument was about, and it makes sense. I mean, Gia's a bit of a party girl, and Scott is clearly not. He's somebody who gets up really early, works out, works, and then goes to bed. And he needed a little fun in his life, according to his mom, and it's clear he does. But when someone's done, they're done. And when he wanted to leave the party the night before, Gia didn't want to, and they got into an argument about it. And this is going to come up because they're both very different. Their lifestyles are different. She's going to have to figure out some kind of balance there, and that's going to be a challenge. And she said some things during their fight because Gia, as we can tell, and we've seen with the way she's reacted to Stella and Alyssa, she says mean things when she's angry. And he said, I can forgive her, but I'm not going to forget what she said. One of the things she said, and you could see everybody's reactions, was, I can get any guy I want. Well, this did not go over very well with Scott because he's a catch and he knows it. He doesn't need some little prima donna telling him she's too good for him, because she's not. Beck and Danny are up. Beck looks a bit of a mess. I mean, she doesn't look like she has any makeup on, and she probably shouldn't because she's crying so much. So it's probably better to be a bit barefaced at this point. But she just looks a hot mess, and not because of drinking, because of crying all night. Just that puffiness and just the way she's dressed. I mean, she just didn't really put a lot into her appearance that day because she could really get dolled up and look gorgeous. Poor thing. Danny really turned this around on her, and there's Gia smiling away. She loves putting a rift between the two of them. I really don't know why Gia has it in for Danny so badly. I wonder if this will come out. John just tells them to be kind and there for each other. And you could see Danny reach for Beck finally. I mean, she's been crying for 24 hours, but he's going to come around. They both say stay, but you can see everybody is really kind of aware that Beck is backing down to Danny, and he's the one who is in the wrong for his behavior, and they don't like it. And Philippe are up, and John and the experts are so proud of how they handled those girls attacking Stella and how she stayed calm and didn't react. It's impressive. I mean, I don't know anybody who could have just sat there and taken it. She feels apologies are nothing without changed behavior. I mean, this is an intellectual mind. Philippe was also impressed with his girl superpower, he calls it. We are all impressed with Stella in general, and Philippe adds beauty to her life. It's what she says, and that is such a deep, wonderful thing to say about your partner. Well, here we are, the moment we've all been waiting for. It is time for Chris and Brooke, and they couldn't be any more uncomfortable, especially Brooke. I mean, she thinks that she can just say, oh, you know, I was having a bad night. You can only say that once. You can't say that every single time after an outburst like that. She deserves to be uncomfortable. She's made a lot of people uncomfortable. Another empty apology. Where's Chris's apology for just bailing on him without even telling him you're leaving the experiment? I mean, I think you owe him a little bit more than that. The room is silent. John asked her why she reacted like that. It was so crazy and over the top. I mean, it's really funny that Brooke couldn't get past Chris's comment about how he didn't like fat people. I mean, it was just one comment. It wasn't nice. But look at all of the horrible things she said and all the horrible things she's done. And she can't get past his behavior. And John calls her out on that. Chris is having a hard time accepting this breakup. I think Chris is just really emotionally immature. And he just doesn't have a lot of experience with women or relationships, and it shows. He just needs to work on that a little bit. She's looking for a man, not a boy. And the experts pointed out to Brooke that she only came back to have a go at people. She did not come back for her relationship or for Chris. And Mel, the expert, points out what a hypocrite Brooke is. She just can't take ownership of anything. Mel's never seen a woman be so vicious to another woman, and we have seen some stuff on this show. And she said she was relentless. Where does that come from? And that's a very confronting question, and one we expected an answer to, and one Brooke was not comfortable giving. So once again, she just gets up and leaves. So the whole cast is sitting there waiting for her to return. She never returns. She tells some production person in the back that she's not coming back. And I'm not shocked about it. And even Chris is like, is she coming back? When John rolls his eyes and has to tell everybody that she's not coming back, Chris is like, no, she's not doing this again. And he gets up and leaves and goes after her. I mean, he wants answers, and I understand that. And he's been patient. He's let her talk. He didn't even get his chance. It's just such a bummer. I hope next episode he gets some kind of clarity. I mean, she made it very clear on the couch that they were not going to be anything outside of this relationship, because I think he really thought maybe they could be. And she's like, it's not ever happening. We're not going to be anything more than friends, if that. And she's just a cold-hearted girl. I think she had ulterior motives, especially because I've heard some rumblings. So all right, you guys, this was a great episode as always. I absolutely love the show, and let's enjoy next episode. I'll be dropping it in a couple days. All right, have a great week. Bye.